The plane was late. Kalen Thorne stood on the frozen airfield of his private ranch, watching the gray Montana sky. He wondered if this was a sign. Maybe she changed her mind. Maybe the agency changed their mind. Maybe someone had told her the truth about what she was getting into. He pulled his green flannel jacket tighter around him because the wind was cold. Behind him, his ranch foreman, Harlan Cade, leaned against the truck with his arms crossed. "Still time to call it off, boss," Harlan said. Kalen shook his head. He had made his decision 6 months ago, sitting alone in his huge ranch house on his 34th birthday. He had built a tech company by the time he was 28, bought 15,000 acres in Montana by 30, and spent the last 4 years proving he could run a successful cattle ranch. He had everything, except someone to share it with. Dating was impossible. Women either wanted his money or couldn't handle living so far from everyone. His ranch was 20 miles from the nearest town, and in winter, you could go weeks without seeing another person. He needed someone practical. Someone who understood this life was about partnership, not romance. The agency was clear. They specialized in practical arrangements.
No pretending to be in love at first sight.
Just honest people looking for honest situations. He filled out the paperwork, saying he wanted someone hardworking, strong, okay with being alone sometimes, and not interested in his money. Then, a small plane appeared through the clouds. Kalen's Griffonac tightened as it came down. This was really happening. In a few minutes, a stranger would step off the plane and become his wife. The legal papers were already done. She was already legally Elara Thorne. He just hadn't met her yet. The plane landed smoothly and came to Thorntham. Harlan straightened up. "You sure about this?" Harlan asked again. "Too late now," Kalen muttered. The plane door opened.
The small staircase came down.
Then she appeared.
Kalenes briskoked.
The woman wore a red wool coat that looked bright against the white snow. Her skin was a rich brown, and her natural hair curled around her face like a halo. She carried one suitcase but walked with such grace that it looked elegant. She was beautiful. Stunningly beautiful. This had to be a mistake. Kalen walked for Thorne as she came down the stairs. Their eyes met. Her eyes were warm brown and smart, looking at everything carefully. "Stop," Kalen said, his voice harsher than he meant. "There's been a mistake." She reached the bot griffin and set down her suitcase. "Hello, Kalen."
I'm Elara Cross. Well, Elara Thorne now.
"I guess you can't be the woman the agency sent," Kalen said flatly. "You're not what I ordered." He immediately regretted saying it. It sounded mean and businesslike, but she didn't flinch. "I am exactly who they said," Elara said calmly. "I filled out the same papers you did. I agreed to the same rules. Hard work, living alone sometimes, a business arrangement." Kalen gestured at her. "You look like you should be in Boston, not cleaning horse stalls." "Looks can be deceiving," Elara said. Her voice was steady, but he saw a flash of anger in her eyes. She had grown up in 12 different Sterling homes in Boston. She had cleaned, cooked, worked, and survived things he couldn't imagine. She knew hard work. Harlan walked over and tipped his hat.
Même à Marlan Cade, the foreman.
"Nice to meet you, Mr. Cade," Elara said, shaking his hand firmly. Kalen ran his hand through his hair, frustrated. "This doesn't make sense," he said. "Why would someone like you need this arrangement? You could marry anyone, couldn't you?" Elara asked quietly. "Beauty doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't give stability. And in my experience, it mostly brings the wrong attention." She picked up her suitcase. "I chose this for the same reason you did. I want a partnership, a real home, a place where I can work hard and build something that matters." "The agency said you offered all of that, but I asked for someone plain," Kalen said, feeling like an idiot. He didn't mean it as an insult. He just meant he wanted someone who would need this arrangement as much as he did. "I need this, Kalen," Elara said firmly. "I wouldn't be here if I didn't."
I don't quitter Ever.
"So, you can either take me back to the house and let me prove I can handle the ranch, Or put me back on that plane and tell the agency you rejected your legal wife without giving her a chance. Kaylin stared at her. She met his eyes without fear.
Der was still beneath her beautiful exterior.
Maybe she was tougher than she looked. Fine, he said. But I'm not going easy on you. Ranch work starts at 5 o'clock in the morning. We're in calving season, so it means sleepless nights and emergencies. The house is big but simple. No staff except Harlan and the ranch hands, and they live in the bunkhouse. You'll handle house duties and help with ranch work. If you can't handle it, you tell me, and we'll arrange an annulment. I can handle it, Ilara said. Harlan grabbed her suitcase before she could protest.
Welcome to Storm Ranch, ma'am.
It's a good place, hard as it is. They walked to the truck. Ilara got into the back without complaining. As Kaylin drove away, he watched her in the rearview mirror. She was looking at the endless white landscape, the distant mountains, and the few cattle huddled against the cold. Most people thought it was empty and sad. It's beautiful, Ilara said softly. I've never been snowed in for 3 weeks, Kaylin said. Then tell me how beautiful it is. I grew up sharing a bedroom with 5 other girls, Ilara said.
Space sounds like heaven.
They drove in silence for 20 minutes. Finally, the ranch house came into view. It was huge, made of logs and stone.
Smoke came from the chimney.
Solar panels were on the roof, and a big satellite dish gave them internet. It's not fancy, Kaylin warned. Built for function, not style. Ilara stepped out and looked at the house. It's wonderful. Harlan carried her suitcase to the front door. I'll leave you two to settle in. Boss, we've got a fence to check before dark. I remember, Kaylin said.
Give me 30 minutes.
Inside, the house was warm from the wood-burning stove. The furniture was practical, all leather and heavy wood. The kitchen was big and had good appliances, though Kaylin barely knew how to use most of them. Your room is upstairs, Kaylin said. I'm in the master bedroom. You'll have the guest room. It has its own bathroom. He opened a spacious room with a queen bed, a dresser, and a window overlooking the pasture. It's perfect, Ilara said. She set her suitcase on the bed. Remember, Kaylin said stiffly, separate rooms until we decide otherwise. This is a business first. Anything else would have to be mutual. I understand, Ilara said. That suits me fine. An Auckthorn silence filled the room. Kaylin thought this moment would be easy. But it wasn't. He had a beautiful, smart, determined woman who noticed rotting fence posts and talked about real love versus false promises. I need to go check the fence line, he said finally. There's food in the kitchen, he said.
Help yourself. I'll be back around dark. Can he come with you?
Ilara asked. You said ranch work starts Griffinoro at 5 o'clock. I'd like to see what I'm getting into. It's cold, muddy, boring, she said. Fine, Kaylin said. 10 minutes later, she came back wearing jeans, boots, and a heavy jacket. Her hair was tied back. She looked ready for work. Kaylin led her to the truck where Harlan waited. Mrs. Thorne is joining us, he said. Pete's eyebrows went up, but he said nothing. They drove to the southern pasture where the fence bordered the neighbor. The wind had picked up and the temperature was dropping fast. What are we looking for? Ilara asked. Breaks, weak spots, places where cattle might push through, Harlan said.
Winter is hard on everything out here.
We check often. Ilara followed, watching carefully. When they found a wire that had come loose, she crouched down to look at it. This post is rotting at the bot griffin, she said. The wire is fine, but the post won't last much longer. Kaylin and Harlan looked at each other. She was right. Good eye, Harlan said. They spent the next hour marking problem spots. Ilara asked lots of questions. She wanted to know why things failed and how to fix them. She didn't complain about the cold or the wind. When they finished, her cheeks were red, but she looked happy, not tired. Back at the truck, Harlan said, Ma'am, you catch on quick. Most city people don't notice half of what you did. I learned to notice things, Ilara said. Growing up how I did, you have to spot problems before they get worse. As they drove back, the sun was setting. The snow looked pink and gold. Ilara pressed her face to the window, watching.
"Sti beautiful?"
Kaylin asked, softer now. Even more so, Ilara said. That night, Kaylin made a simple dinner of steak and potatoes. Ilara unpacked. She came downstairs and immediately helped, setting the table and pouring water. They ate in quiet. Kaylin kept looking at her. She wasn't plain and forgettable. She filled the room with her presence. Tell me about the ranch, Ilara said. How did you end up here? Kaylin explained his tech company, selling it, and feeling empty. He grew up visiting his grandparents' small farm in Idaho. After his parents died, he wanted land and space. Most people thought I was crazy, he said. Were you happy there? Ilara asked. No. Then you weren't crazy. She smiled.
Are you happier? Kaylin thought.
Happier, but lonely. That's why I arranged for a wife. Ilara was quiet for a long moment. She said she grew up in Sterling Care, worked 3 jobs to put herself through college, got a degree in social work, and tried to help kids. But she got tired and wanted a real home, a place to build something. Marriage to a stranger seemed like the answer, she said. Marriage to a stranger seemed more honest than dating men who pretended to care, she added. At least with this arrangement, we know what we're getting into. Partnership, mutual benefit, no false promises, Kaylin said. No false love, Ilara corrected. Real love, if it happens, comes with choice and time, not just sparks. Kaylin nodded. It made sense, more sense than he wanted to admit. After dinner, Ilara insisted on washing dishes. Kaylin dried them. Then he showed her the house, heating system, backup generator, Wi-Fi password. Morning comes early, he said. Finally, she said.
You should rest.
What time do you wake up? He asked.
4h30.
I'll be up at 4:32, Kaylin said.
Good night, Kaylin.
Good night. Alone, Kaylin sat on the edge of his bed. Nothing had gone as planned. He expected a plain woman who just wanted security. Instead, he had Ilara, beautiful, smart, and determined. She noticed problems, spoke about real love, and called his isolated ranch beautiful. He tried to send her away, but she refused. Maybe Harlan was right. Maybe Kaylin got exactly what he needed. Griffinoro would tell. If she really woke up at 4:30 and handled ranch work, maybe this arrangement could work. He lay back, feeling that for the first time in 4 years, his house didn't feel so empty. Kaylin's alarm went off at 4:30. He turned it off. For a moment, he lay in the dark, remembering. Then he heard water running in the bathroom. She was awake. He dressed quickly and went downstairs. The kitchen light was on. Ilara stood at the stove, wearing jeans and a bright blue sweater. Her hair was in a practical bun. Coffee was brewing, and she was scrambling eggs. Good morning, she said, as if making breakfast at 4:30 in someone else's kitchen was normal.
Hope you don't mind.
I found everything I needed. You didn't have to cook, Kaylin said, surprised. We both need to eat, Ilara said. Might as well make it quick. She served breakfast without making a fuss, eggs, toast, and coffee. They ate quickly, and Kaylin started explaining the day. We have 3 cows ready to have babies soon. We need to check on them first. Then we'll fix that fence section we marked yesterday. After that, feeding the animals, checking water tanks, and other chores. Harlan and the ranch hands will be here by 6. What can I do? Ilara asked. You can help with feeding the animals, Kaylin said. It's easy. Just carry hay and check that the cows are healthy. I can do that, Ilara said. They went outside into the cold before the sun was up. The air was freezing, and their breaths made little clouds in the flashlight beam. In the barn, 3 pregnant cows rested in separate stalls. Kaylin had set up small cameras to watch them. "This is Dahlia, Juniper, and Magnolia," Kaylin said, checking each cow carefully. "They're first-time mothers, so I need to watch closely."
You name your cow.
Ilara asked with a smile in her voice. "Just the important ones," Kaylin said. "It makes it easier to keep track." Ilara reached out to stroke Dahlia's nose. The cow huffed but didn't move away. "When will they have their babies?" Ilara asked. "Any time now. Could be today, could be next week."
You can't rush nature.
He moved to check Juniper. "If I'm not here when it happens, you call me immediately. Calving can be dangerous."
I will, Ilara promised.
They spent the next 2 hours doing the morning chores.
Ilara learned fast.
She carried hay without complaining, climbed over gates, and handled the cold without whining. When Kaylin noticed a cow with a small limp, Ilara suggested checking for hoof rot. By 6, Harlan and the other ranch hands arrived. Silas Boone, Griffin Locke, and Judd Mercer, all experienced men in their 40s. They tipped their hats to Ilara, unsure what to make of her. "Mrs. Thorne will be working with us," Kaylin said. "Treat her like any other worker." "Yes, boss," they said together. They loaded tools into the trucks and went to the southern fence line.
The sun rose, making the snow look pink and gold.
Kaylin gave everyone their tasks.
Silas, Griffin, you take the west section. Jude, Pet, east.
"Mrs. Thorne, you're with me on these old fence posts." Ilara grabbed gloves and a digging bar without hesitation. Fixing the fence was hard. The ground was frozen, and every hole was a fight. Kaylin started on the first post, expecting Ilara to watch or do small tasks. But she grabbed a digging bar and broke the frozen earth around the post. She didn't try to match his strength, but she used smart, steady work. "You've done this before," Kaylin said. "One of my Sterling families had a small farm," Ilara said. "I spent 2 years there and learned a lot about farm work." She paused. "They were kind. I wish I could have stayed. But they had trouble with the agency. I was moved before it was fixed." Kaylin nodded, hearing the hurt in her words. They worked quietly together after that. By mid-morning, they had replaced 2 posts and started on the 3rd. Kaylin had to admit Ilara was doing very well. Then it happened. Kaylin used a pry bar to pull out an old post.
The frozen ground suddenly let go, and the post swung fast.
Kaylin lost his balance. The post, with barbed wire, swung right at his head.
Kaylin.
Ilara shouted. She jumped for Thorne and grabbed the post. Her momentum made them both fall sideways into the snow. The post and wire landed safely to the side. They stayed still for a moment. Kaylin's heart was racing. That post could have seriously hurt him. "Are you hurt?" Ilara asked, checking him. "Did the wire get you?" "No, I'm fine."
What about you?
"I'm okay," she said, sitting in the snow and breathing hard.
Harlan ran over.
"What happened?" "Post came loose wrong," Kaylin said. He helped Ilara up. "You just saved me from the hospital, or worse," Harlan said, looking at the wire. That was smart thinking. Ilara brushed the snow off her jeans. "I just reacted." But Kaylin noticed her hands were shaking slightly. She had been scared, but she acted fast and strong. "Thank you," he said quietly. "You're welcome," she said. They finished the fence more carefully. At lunch, they all ate in the ranch kitchen. Ilara had set out sandwiches and coffee. The men started relaxing around her. "How long have you all worked here?" she asked. 3 years, Silas said. "Boss gave me the job when my wife passed." "I've been here from the beginning," Harlan said. "I watched him turn this place from nothing into a real ranch. He pays fair and treats us right," Griffin added. Ilara looked at Kaylin, thinking. He looked away, shy with praise. That afternoon, they moved cows to a new pasture. Ilara rode in the truck bed with Judd, opening and closing gates carefully. She was smart and safe. As the sun set, Kalen checked the barn. Ilara came with him. Juniper was restless, pacing her stall. It's starting, Kalen said. Could be hours, but I need to stay close. What can I do? Ilara asked. You've done enough, Kalen said. Go rest. This might take all night. I want to stay, Ilara said. I've never seen a calf being born. Kalen studied her. She was tired, but her eyes were bright. It's not always pretty, he warned. I don't need pretty, she said. I need real. They waited together. Kalen brought chairs and a thermos of coffee. They sat outside Juniper's stall. The barn was warm and quiet except for the soft sounds of cows. You did well today, Kalen said.
Better than well.
You saved me from being hurt. I would have done the same, Ilara said. Maybe, but I wouldn't have been fast enough, he said. I need to apologize. This morning, I tested you, trying to make you quit. That wasn't fair. I know, Ilara said. You thought I couldn't handle it. I was wrong. Yes, you were, he admitted. She smiled slightly. But I understand why you thought it. I'm not what you expected. No, you're not, Kalen agreed. Juniper's labor moved slowly. Around midnight, Kalen called Harlan to help. The calf was in the right position, but Juniper struggled. It took all three of them to help the calf into the world. When the baby came out, wet and warm, Ilara gasped. The calf was small, perfect, and healthy. Juniper licked her clean, making soft, happy sounds.
She's beautiful, Ilara whispered.
She wiped tears. Sorry. I didn't expect to cry. It's okay, Kalen said. New life is always amazing. Harlan clapped them both on the shoulders. Good work. I'm going to bed. You two should too. But Kalen and Ilara stayed another hour to make sure mother and baby were fine. Around 2 a.m., they walked back to the house. 4:30 will come early, Kalen said. Worth it, Ilara replied. At the stairs, they paused. The day had brought them closer. Kalen wanted to say more but couldn't find the words. You were amazing today, he said. All of it.
The work, saving me tonight.
I'm glad you stayed. Ilara smiled tiredly but truly. I'm glad too. See you in a few hours. Good night. Good night, Kalen said. Alone in his room, Kalen's mind raced. He had tried to see if Ilara could handle ranch life. She had proven she was brave, strong, and caring. She saved him, worked hard, and cried at the beauty of life. She demanded to be seen, not for beauty, but for her heart and skill. As he finally slept, Kalen admitted something to himself. He had tested her because he was scared she wouldn't stay. But she passed the test. Now he had to pass hers. He needed to be the partner she deserved. The next week passed fast.
Ilara woke at 4:30 every morning.
She learned the ranch's routines quickly, solving problems before Kalen noticed. The ranch hands treated her like one of them. Dahlia and Magnolia both had healthy calves. Ilara named them, and everyone admired how capable she was. Ilara remembered her sterling families, the Becketts. She had loved working on their small farm. She had felt like she belonged for 2 years. Then the system moved her again. She had never been able to stay anywhere. Yes, I aged out eventually, she told Kalen. I got my own apartment, worked 3 jobs, went to college, became a social worker to help kids like me. But the system fails most kids. I burned out. I wanted a real home, meaningful work, and honesty. That's why I stayed here. She looked at him. I wanted to be chosen, even for practical reasons. The wind howled outside. Snow piled against the windows. Inside, the fire kept them warm. I'm glad I didn't send you back, Kalen said quietly. Me too, Ilara replied. They talked for hours. They shared memories, dreams, and small stories. Kalen told her about his first cattle, and Ilara told him about sneaking books from the library. Around midnight, They finally went to bed. The fire burned low. Kaelin added more wood.
Kaelen. Et Lara whispered.
Yeah. Thank you for telling me about your parents.
And your life.
You survived so much.
You're stronger than you know.
We both are, he said.
The next day, the power came back on.
But something had changed. They were no longer strangers. They were partners, maybe friends, maybe more. They had chosen to build something better together. For the first time in 4 years, Kaelin's house felt warm, not just from the fire, but from something else, something real. Ilara and Kaelin moved their mattresses back upstairs and went to sleep in their own rooms again. But things felt different now. They were more comfortable around each other. Talking was easy, and silence didn't feel strange anymore. Over the next 2 weeks, they got used to living together. Ilara helped in ways Kaelin didn't expect. She organized the supplies, made a better system for keeping records, and started learning about what the cows needed to eat. The ranch workers liked her. Even Pete, who was usually grumpy, smiled more when she was around. 3 weeks after Ilara came, one Thursday evening, Harlan knocked on the kitchen door. His face looked serious. "Turn on the Weather Channel," he said.
Kaelen grabbait the remote.
The woman on TV looked worried. "A huge storm is coming from Canada," she said. "It will be the worst blizzard Montana has had in 20 years. Expect 2 to 3 feet of snow, winds up to 70 miles per hour, and temperatures far below zero.
The storm will start Gryffindor evening and last about 3 days.
Everyone should prepare now." 3 days. Ilara repeated. "Yes, 3 days," Harlan said. "Sometimes storms last longer. We need to get everything ready tonight and Gryffindor. No breaks." Kaelin made a mental list.
Call the ranchant.
Tell them to be here at 4 a.m. Gryffindor. We need to move fast. The next morning, everyone was there before sunrise. Snow was already falling lightly. Kaelin gathered everyone in the barn. "Here's the plan," he said. "Step 1. Get all the cattle into shelters or behind windbreaks. Step 2. Secure all equipment and buildings. Step 3. Move feed to places we can reach it during the storm. Step 4. Fill all water tanks because pipes might freeze. Be careful.
If something seems too dangerous, don't do it.
Your life is more important than property." They split into teams. Kaelin and Harlan took the main herd. Silas and Griffin handled equipment. Judd worked on water. Ilara stayed in the barn, keeping track of supplies and checking everyone's progress on a whiteboard. The work was non-stop and exhausting. They used trucks, tractors, and horses to move over 300 cattle into protected areas. They secured gates, reinforced weak buildings, and carried hay to safe places. The wind grew stronger, and snow went from light to heavy. Ilara helped everywhere. She loaded hay, refilled water, ran messages between teams, and kept everyone updated. When Ree's truck got stuck in a snow drift, Ilara brought the tractor to pull it out. By late afternoon, the storm was here. Visibility was almost zero. Snow blew sideways like it had a mind of its own.
Everyone inside.
Kaelin shouted. Ranch hands ran to the bunkhouse, which had food and its own generator. Kaelin and Ilara fought the wind to reach the main house. Inside, they took off their frozen coats. "Is everything done?" Ilara asked, tired from all the shouting. "All we can do," Kaelin replied. Now they had to wait out the storm.
The house was ready.
The generator worked, they had enough food for a week, and the wood stove kept the main rooms warm. That night, the storm was worse than any power outage before.
The wind shook the house and snow pounded the windows.
Outside, the temperature was 20 below zero, but with wind chill it felt like 50 below.
Around midnight, a big gust hit the house. Something crashed outside.
"The porch!" Kaelin shouted, grabbing a flashlight. Part of the roof might be gone.
"You can't go out in this."
Ilara protested. "I need to see if the main house is okay," he said and pulled on his coat. The wind nearly tore it off. Snow blasted inside as he stepped onto the porch. Part of the porch roof had broken, but the house was fine. Then he saw movement near the barn. A figure was struggling through the snow. "Someone's out there," he shouted. Ilara joined him, and they fought the wind together. It was Judd, the ranch hand. "The bunkhouse roof collapsed," Judd yelled. "Everyone's okay, but we need shelter." Getting 5 men from the bunkhouse to the main house in nearly zero visibility and freezing cold was terrifying. They held onto each other like a human chain and walked what felt like miles. Harlan helped Silas, who had a gash on his forehead from falling debris. Griffin and the others were cold but not hurt.
Inside the house, Elara sprang into action.
She settled everyone around the stove, cleaned Ree's wound, and made hot coffee and soup. Kalen checked for frostbite while Harlan explained what happened. "Snow got too heavy," Harlan said. "The roof just gave way. Silas got hit by a beam, but we got out fast." "It's not deep, but it needs stitches," Ilara said. "I can do it," Kalen said. He had learned basic first aid for emergencies. With Ilara's help, he stitched Silas's gash while Silas stayed quiet, gritting his teeth. "You're going to have a good scar," Ilara said.
"A story to tell. Worth it to be alive."
"Yeah," Silas said. "We did good." Once everyone was safe, they rearranged blankets and found spots to sleep. The living room became a camp with 7 people around the wood stove. It was crowded and messy, but nobody complained.
Outside, the blizzard raged on.
Kalen and Harlan took the first watch, keeping the fire going. Around 3 a.m., Harlan pulled Kalen aside. "Your wife is amazing," Harlan said quietly. "She kept everyone calm. Half the men were panicking when the roof fell. She probably saved lives." Kalen looked at Ilara, sleeping peacefully near the fire. "I know I'm lucky," Harlan added.
Real partnership is rare. Don't take it for granted. Iwonte, Kalen promised.
The storm lasted exactly 3 days. They took turns watching the fire, rationed food, and kept everyone's spirits up. Ilara taught Shy Griffin how to play poker. Harlan and Kalen talked about spring planting. Silas healed well, and everyone stayed safe. On the second day, when boredom started, Ilara organized a cooking competition with their limited supplies. Everyone laughed at the results. That night, they shared their favorite memories. It helped pass the time and kept spirits high. By the 3rd night, the wind finally slowed. On the morning of the 4th day, the storm was over. Kalen opened the door to a snowy, sunlit world. Snow was piled up to the roof in some places. The porch roof was crooked, but the sky was clear and blue. "Let's check the damage," Harlan said. The ranch had taken a beating. The bunkhouse roof was destroyed. 2 small buildings collapsed. Fences were broken. But the cattle were mostly safe. Only 3 were lost. The rest huddled in protection, cold but alive. "We did good," Harlan said. "Could have been much worse." Cleanup took days. They worked from dawn to dusk, clearing snow, fixing buildings, and checking the animals. Neighboring ranchers helped, bringing crews and a mobile generator to fix the bunkhouse. Power returned to the main house. Kalen watched Ilara work. She never complained, helped everyone, and found ways to make things easier. The ranch hands treated her like family, and she treated them the same way. A week later, Kalen and Ilara finally had the house to themselves. The ranch hands were back in the repaired bunkhouse. Life was returning to normal. They moved their mattresses back upstairs one last time. Kalen realized he missed having Ilara close at night. "We survived," Ilara said, pausing at the top of the stairs. "We did more than survive," Kalen said. "We thrived. You kept everyone calm and organized. You might have saved lives when the bunkhouse collapsed." "We saved lives together," Ilara corrected. Standing in the hallway, Kalen felt something change inside him. For 3 weeks, he told himself this was just a practical arrangement, a business partnership, and convenience. But that was a lie. Between fence posts and newborn calves, fireside stories, and surviving the blizzard, Ilara had become important to him, not just as a worker, but as a person he cared about, respected, and maybe even loved. The thought scared him. "Good night, Kalen," Ilara said, heading to her room. "Good night," he said ogriffinatically. But as he lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, Kalen knew something had to change. He couldn't keep pretending this was just an arrangement. Ilara had become the most important person in his life. Gryffindoro, he decided, he would figure out how to tell her he was falling in love with her. But Gryffindoro came and went.
And the day after.
Every time he tried to find courage, doubt crept in. What if he was wrong? What if she wanted to stay practical? What if saying something ruined their comfortable partnership? So he said nothing. Life went on. February arrived with more snow, but no storms. The ranch returned to winter routines. Cattle needed care, fences needed fixing, and work was never-ending but satisfying. Ilara seemed happy with their arrangement. She took over the house completely, making everything run smoother. She also helped with ranch finances. "You're overpaying for feed," she told Kalen one evening, showing spreadsheets on the table. "I found a supplier 30 miles west with better prices and quality." "How do you find them?" Kalen asked, impressed. "I've been talking to other ranch wives," Ilara explained. "They run the business side while their husbands run the cattle. They've been really helpful." "Ranch wives," Kalen repeated. "Is that how you see yourself?" Ilara looked at him quietly.
That's what I am, isn't it?
Legally and practically. Kalen didn't like how that sounded. She went back to her spreadsheets. He went to his office, frustrated he hadn't asked what she really wanted from all this. He missed his chance. The next morning, Kalen was checking the eastern fence when his horse slipped on ice. He fell hard, and pain shot through his left leg. The horse was fine, waiting patiently. But Kalen couldn't stand. He radioed the barn. "Pete, I'm down on the east section. Horse threw me. I think my leg might be broken." 20 minutes later, Harlan arrived with Ilara. She jumped out before the truck stopped. "How bad?" she asked, kneeling beside him in the snow. "Bad enough," Kalen said. "I can't put weight on it." Between Harlan and Ilara, they got him into the truck. The nearest hospital was 40 miles away. Ilara sat in the back, holding his leg to keep it still while Harlan drove carefully.
"You'll be fine," Ilara said softly.
"Just breathe."
I've had worse, Kalen lied.
"Sure you have," Ilara said, not believing him for a second. She held his hand, and he squeezed it gratefully. At the hospital, X-rays showed a fractured tibia. Not terrible, but enough to be on crutches for 6 weeks and limited movement for 8. The doctor set the bone, gave a walking boot, and ordered strict rest. "No ranch work," the doctor said firmly. "Stay off that leg except to move around as needed." Back at the ranch, Ilara and Harlan helped Kalen into the house. He sat on the couch. Harlan set up a TV and laptop within reach. "I've got the ranch," Harlan said.
Ilara's got you.
"We'll manage." For the first few days, Kalen was miserable. He hated being useless. He hated watching everyone else work while he had to sit inside. Ilara appeared behind Harlan in her robe. "Your leg can't handle this," she said. "I'll go." "You've never handled a full emergency," Kalen protested. "Then talk me through it by phone," Ilara said. She was already putting on clothes. "Harlan will be there, and you can guide us. But you can't travel physically." She was right, and Kalen didn't like it, but he agreed.
"Fine.
"Keep the line open the whole time," he said.
They loaded Magnolia, the car, into the trailer.
Ilara drove while Harlan guided her. Kalen stayed on the phone, listening to every sound and every update. The cow was very tired and in bad shape from giving birth. Harlan told him the vets were ready for emergency surgery. "About 30 minutes wait," he said. Kalen could hear Magnolia making scared noises through the phone. He could also hear Ilara's calm voice, soothing the frightened cow. For 30 minutes, Ilara stayed in the trailer, keeping Magnolia as calm as she could until the vet was ready. The surgery took 2 hours. Kaylin stayed on the phone the entire time, helping Ilara follow the vet's instructions. By the time it was over, dawn was breaking. Magnolia had survived, and her calf was alive. "You saved them," the vet told Ilara. "Your quick thinking and calm help made all the difference." Back at the ranch, Ilara and Harlan were exhausted but happy. Kaylin, who had stayed awake all night guiding by phone, felt proud but frustrated. "You did good," he said to Ilara as she collapsed onto the couch beside him. "Really good." "We did good," Ilara corrected. She leaned her head back and closed her eyes. "You guided every step," Kaylin said. "But you did it, Ilara. I couldn't have done it without you. The ranch couldn't have." Ilara opened her eyes and looked at him. They were sitting close on the couch. Kaylin could smell her shampoo mixed with barn smells.
Partnership, she said softly.
"That's what this is, right? We balance each other." Kaylin nodded. Though the word felt small, they sat in quiet as the morning light filled the room. Harlan had gone to sleep for a few hours. The house was quiet except for their breathing. "Can I ask you something?" Ilara said eventually. "Anything. Are you happy with this?"
With me being here? Is this what you wanted?
The question surprised Kaylin. "Why would you ask that?" he said. "Sometimes I can't tell," Ilara admitted. "You're kind, fair, and we work well together. But I don't know if you're just satisfied with a practical partnership or if you wanted something more." This was the moment Kaylin had been waiting for.
A chance tout elles trousse.
"I wanted practical," Kaylin said slowly. "I convinced myself that's what I needed. Someone reliable, competent, without complications." "And," Ilara prompted. "And I was wrong," Kaylin continued. "You're not just reliable.
You're incredible.
You've changed this ranch, this house, and my life. You've become important in ways I didn't expect. Somewhere along the way, I stopped wanting practical and started wanting real."
Ilara briscoqued.
"Real meaning what?" she asked. "Real meaning I care about you," Kaylin said. "Not just as a partner for convenience, but as a person. Someone I choose every day, because I want to, not because of our arrangement."
Oh, Ilara whispered.
"That's not what we agreed to," Kaylin added quickly. "If you want to stay practical, I'll respect that. I just needed you to know the truth." Ilara was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled. "I stopped being practical about 6 weeks ago," she said. "Around the time you told me about your parents. Or maybe when you let me help with Juniper's calf. I'm not sure exactly when, but yes, Kaylin."
You want real, too.
Relief and joy filled Kaylin. "Yeah," Ilara confirmed. They were sitting very close now. Kaylin reached out and took her hand. She intertwined her fingers with his. "So, what now?" she asked. "Now we figure out what real looks like for us," Kaylin said.
No rush, no pressure, juste honesty, together.
"I can do that," Ilara said. They sat together on the couch as the morning brightened outside. 6 weeks ago, she had been a stranger stepping off a plane. Now, she was the person he couldn't imagine living without. The arrangement was over. The real relationship had just begun. For the first time in 4 years, Kaylin felt completely, truly happy. Kaylin's leg healed slowly. By mid-March, he was off crutches and back to light work. The ranch had survived winter, mostly thanks to Ilara and Pete. As spring came, the local ranching community started preparing for the annual spring gathering. It was a tradition where neighbors helped each other with big projects and celebrated the end of winter. This year, it was being held at the Thorn Ranch. "Are you sure about this?" Kaylin asked when Harlan mentioned it. "That's 30 families. Maybe 100 people." "Tradition is tradition," Harlan said. "Besides, you have Ilara now. She'll handle it." He wasn't wrong. Ilara was excited when she heard about the gathering. "This is perfect," she said. "A chance to meet everyone. What can I do? Together, they planned the event. Ilara organized the women, food, and activities. Kaylin prepared equipment and demonstration areas about ranch technology. The Saturday of the gathering was clear and beautiful. Families arrived around 10 a.m. Trucks and cars filled the yard. Ilara wore a blue dress and boots, looking both practical and nice. She greeted everyone warmly, remembering names and details. "You must be Mrs. Vega," she said to a woman with 3 children. "Harlan mentioned your husband helped during the blizzard." "Thank you."
Call me Marisol, the woman said, smiling. These are my girls, Lena, Cora, and Isla.
Within an hour, Ilara had met dozens of people and made them all feel welcome. She organized children into activity groups, helped set up food tables, and even introduced neighbors who had never met before. "Your wife is something special," Elias Finch from the local church told Kaylin. "Everyone's impressed." "She's remarkable," Kaylin agreed, watching Ilara help an elderly rancher to a chair. The day was full of activities. Men worked on a fencing project, women swapped seeds and shared gardening tips, teenagers helped with equipment, and children played games. Ilara was everywhere, making sure everyone had what they needed. She made her famous lemonade, and people kept coming back for more. She also organized a potluck with dishes from many families. At lunch, Elias Finch asked for everyone's attention. "This community survived another winter," he said. "We've helped each other through storms and struggles, and we're blessed to have new members. Mrs. Thorne, you've been here only a few months, but you're already part of our hearts. Thank you for opening your home." Everyone clapped. Ilara blushed but smiled. After lunch, some older women pulled Ilara aside. Kaylin watched from a distance. Later, Ilara found him checking on the fence. "I think I just got adopted by the local grandmothers," she said, laughing. "Mrs. Chin invited us to dinner, Mrs. O'Brien wants to teach me her bread recipe, and Mrs. Whitaker asked when we plan to have children." Kaylin nearly dropped his hammer. "Don't worry," Ilara said. "But it made me realize everyone sees us as a real couple now, not just an arrangement. Does that bother you?" "No," Kaylin said. "It actually feels good."
We belong here together.
As the afternoon went on, the work projects finished, and the gathering became a social event. Children ran and played. Adults talked and shared stories.
Marisol Vega found Ilara and Kaylin.
"When we heard Kaylin got a mail-order bride, we were skeptical," she said. "But seeing you together, how you work as a team, it's lovely. My husband and I started with an arranged marriage too. We grew into love, and now I can't imagine life without him." "That's beautiful," Ilara said. "It takes work," Marisol continued. "Every day you choose each other. That builds a partnership stronger than passion. Something that lasts." After Marisol left, Ilara squeezed Kaylin's hand. "She's right," she said. "I choose you," Kaylin said quietly. "Every day I choose you too," Ilara replied. As evening came, Elias Finch spoke to them again. He suggested a blessing ceremony to show publicly what they already knew privately. They were a real couple.
Maybe someday, Ilara said softly.
"Yes. A real marriage," Kaylin agreed. The last guests left as the sun set. Kaylin and Ilara cleaned up together. "Today was perfect," Ilara said. "You made it perfect," Kaylin replied. The house felt different now, like a shared home. Ilara's touches were everywhere. Curtains, plants, photos. "I've been thinking," Kaylin said, "about the future. About what we can build here." "What do you mean?" Ilara asked. "You became a social worker to help kids, right? What if we did that here? Used the ranch to help Sterling youth. Teach ranch skills, give them jobs and stability. We could make a difference." "That would be amazing,"
Ilara whispered.
"I really mean it," Kaylin said. "We can research, get licensed, and set up proper living areas. We could do it together." Ilara hugged him tightly. "Yes, this is everything I've dreamed of." They held each other. Kaylin realized the ranch now had a new purpose.
À place fort hope, Éligne, and second chance.
Just like their marriage, which had become a second chance at happiness. Over the next month, they planned the Sterling Youth Program. They worked together, turning an old barn into living quarters. The project brought them closer than ever. Kaylin realized something else. They were married, yes, but he had never properly proposed. Their marriage had started as a business arrangement. Ilara deserved more. On a beautiful Saturday in late April, Kaylin asked Ilara to help check the northern boundary of the ranch. The air smelled of earth and growing flowers. Snow was gone except in shaded spots. Wildflowers were blooming. They drove out in the truck, ready to work together and enjoy the spring day. Kaylin had found a special spot on the ranch a few days ago. It was high up on a hill, and from there you could see the whole ranch. Far away, the mountains looked like they went on forever. It felt like anything was possible from there. "Why are we checking the northern boundary?" Ilara asked as they walked to the hilltop. "We don't need to," Kaylin admitted. "I just wanted to bring you here." Ilara looked around. The view was beautiful. "It's my favorite spot on the ranch," Kaylin said. "I come here when I need to think, or when I need to remember why I chose this life." They stood in silence, the wind playing with their hair. Finally, Kaylin turned to her.
Ilara, I need to tell you something.
She looked at him, curious and maybe a little worried. "We've been married for 3 months, Kaylin continued. "Legally, officially, practically. But I never asked you properly.
I never gave you a real choice."
"Kaylin," Ilara started, but he gently put up a hand. "Let me finish," he said. "I ordered a bride thinking I wanted convenience. But what I got was you.
Brilliant, strong, kind you. You've changed everything.
This ranch is better because of you.
The house feel like a home because of you.
My life has meaning because of you." He pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside was a simple gold ring with 3 tiny diamonds. "This was my grandmother's ring," Kaylin said. "My grandfather proposed to her on a hilltop, just like this one. They were married for 58 years. I'd like you to have it if you'll accept it." Ilara's eyes were already filling with tears. "I'm not asking you to marry me," Kaylin said. "We're already married. I'm asking you to choose it. Choose me. Choose us. Not because of an arrangement or a contract, but because you want a real life together.
A real partnership.
A real marriage.
A real futur."
He got down on one knee and held the ring up. "Will you marry me for real this time?" he asked.
"With love and choice and everything that matters." Ilara's tears fell freely.
"Yes," she said. Her voice was breaking. "Yes, Kaylin, I choose you. I choose us." "Yes," he said, sliding the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. Then he stood, and she threw herself into his arms. They held each other on the hilltop, looking out at the ranch and the wide open future ahead. When they finally pulled apart, Ilara laughed through her tears. "I can't believe you did this," she said. "You deserved it," Kaylin replied.
"You deserve everything."
They sat on the hill for hours, talking about dreams, the Sterling program they wanted to start, and the life they wanted to create. Maybe, one day, children of their own. They talked about fears, hopes, the past, and the future. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with bright colors, Kaylin realized he was truly happy. Not just content, but truly happy, because he shared his life with someone who loved him completely. "We should head back," Ilara said, though she didn't move. "Just a few more minutes," Kaylin said.
"I want to remember this."
So, they stayed, watching the sunset together. When they finally drove back to the ranch house, Ilara kept looking at her ring, turning her hand to catch the light. "I love it," she said. "And I love that it was your grandmother's. It means something." "Everything means something with you," Kaylin replied. That night, they called Harlan to share the news. He laughed his deep, rumbling laugh. About time you made it really official, he said. Were we that obvious? Ilara asked. As a fox in a henhouse, Harlan said. But in a good way. I'm happy for you both. Word spread quickly through the community. The next day, neighbors stopped by to congratulate them.
Marisol Vega brucht flowers.
Mrs. Chin brought food. Elias Finch called to offer to do a blessing ceremony.
What do you think?
Kaylin asked Ilara in their suddenly busy kitchen. Should we have a ceremony? I think I'd like that, Ilara said. Nothing huge. Just our community and friends. A chance to say out loud what we already know. When? Kaylin asked. Summer. June, Ilara decided. That will give us time to plan and finish the barn conversion. We can even combine it with a program launch celebration. Kaylin kissed her forehead. Perfect. The next 2 months were busy. They worked hard to finish the barn, making it a dormitory for 6 teenagers. There was a common area, kitchen, and office. They got licensed to run a Sterling program and hired a part-time social worker. Ilara chose a simple green dress for the ceremony. Kaylin wore his best suit. They wrote their own vows, promising to always choose each other and build a life of love and purpose. The ceremony took place in the newly converted barn. The community came to watch. Kaylin said, I choose you today and every day after. Ilara cried. You gave me a home, a purpose, and love I never expected. Kaylin's eyes stung with tears too. They exchanged rings again, this time with witnesses, love, and meaning. Elias Finch said they were now united in the eyes of God and the community. Everyone cheered. The celebration was full of music, dancing, food, and laughter. Harlan pulled Kaylin aside. Your grandparents would be proud, he said quietly. Thanks to Ilara, Kaylin said. No, thanks to both of you, Harlan corrected. Partnership makes it work. As the last guest left, Kaylin and Ilara stood looking at the barn. We did it, Ilara said. We're ready for our first participants. Scared? Kaylin asked. Terrified, Ilara admitted, but excited too. This is going to change lives. It already has, Kaylin said, holding her close. The first teenager arrived on a sunny Monday in early July. Ren Sable was 16. She had one duffel bag and looked defensive, like she was ready to fight. Ilara recognized the look. She'd seen it in so many Sterling kids. The social worker, Rhiannon Shaw, introduced them. Ren, this is Kaylin and Ilara Thorne. They run this ranch program. Kaylin and Ilara smiled at her. Hi, Ren. Welcome. Ren looked around at the barn apartment, the ranch, and the wide-open land. This is weird, she said flatly. Why would anyone do this for free? Because I grew up in Sterling care too, Ilara said. I lived in 12 different homes. I know what it's like to never feel safe or wanted. We want to make something different here. You were in the system until you were 18? Ren asked. Yes, Ilara confirmed. I worked 3 jobs to survive and went to college on my own. It was hard, and no one helped me. We want to give you what I never had. Ren was quiet. Then, what's the catch? No catch, Kaylin said. You work hard, learn ranch skills, and follow simple rules. In return, you get a place to live, training, and support. When you leave in 2 years, you'll have skills, references, and savings. And people who care about your future. No one's ever cared about my future, Ren said flatly. We do, Ilara said firmly. Ren was suspicious at first. She tested boundaries and pushed back. But slowly, she began to trust them. Kaylin taught her ranch work patiently. Ren became great with horses and bonded with an older mare named Honey. Ilara taught her cooking and managing a home. Harlan showed her how to maintain equipment. By August, Ren started to relax. She smiled, asked questions about college and jobs, and even apologized one evening. I'm sorry I was such a brat at first. You weren't a brat, Elara said gently. You were protecting yourself. I understand that. Why though? Ren asked. You have money.
You could do anything. Why help sterling keys?
The system failed me again and again, Elara said. I want to make a difference, one person at a time. Ren looked amazed. You really mean that? I really do, Elara said. In September, 2 more teenagers arrived. Lennox Cade, 17, was angry and sad because his mom had died of cancer. And Beth Chin, 15, was quiet and brilliant but anxious from moving homes too many times. Ren helped them adjust. Lennox was difficult at first, using his anger to hide his grief. Beth was shy and almost invisible. But slowly, they all began to feel like a family. Lennox had a big moment when a cow rejected her calf. He bottle-fed the calf for 3 days without much sleep. When the calf survived, Lennox cried. I couldn't save my mom, he told Kaylin. But I saved this calf. Your mom would be proud, Kaylin said.
You're strong. You'll be okay.
Lennox threw himself into ranch work and began dreaming of becoming a veterinarian. Beth discovered she was amazing with numbers and started helping Elara with bookkeeping. By October, the program ran smoothly. The teenagers found routines and thrived. The community welcomed them. Local families invited them to events, and businesses offered part-time jobs. Kaylin and Elara worked as partners. Kaylin handled ranch work, Elara focused on life skills and emotional support. One evening, after all 3 teenagers were in bed, Elara showed Kaylin a pregnancy test. It's positive, she whispered. We're going to have a baby. Really? Really? Kaylin asked, stunned. I know the timing is soon, with the program starting, but it's perfect, Elara said. You're going to be an amazing mother, Kaylin said. You're going to be an amazing father, Elara replied, tears streaming. They hugged, overwhelmed with joy. Their marriage was real. Their ranch was a home for lost teenagers. And now, they were starting a family of their own. Should we tell the kids? Kaylin asked. Not yet, Elara decided. Let's wait until the 2nd trimester to be sure everything's fine. But yes, we'll tell them then. They're part of our family too. Life went on, busy and joyful. The teenagers grew and learned. Elara's pregnancy went well. The ranch thrived. In January, 2 more teenagers arrived. Mateo Cruz, 16, had recently left juvenile detention for a minor crime. Piper Flynn, 17, had run away from many homes but wanted one more chance at stability. The barn was full of life. There were arguments and fights, but also laughter, growth, and care. The teenagers began to look out for each other. Ren became a big sister to the new kids. Lennox took charge of animal care. Beth helped everyone with homework. When Elara showed her pregnancy in February, the teenagers had many questions. Does this mean you won't have time for us anymore? Mateo asked quietly. Elara smiled. No. We'll always have time for you. You're our family. It means our family is growing, Elara said strongly. There is always room for more love. Always. You are all just as important as this baby.
Nothing changed that.
You're going to be huge and cranky, Ren teased, trying to make everyone laugh.
Elara looked.
Fair warning to everyone, she said. The community came together to help the Thorne family. They had baby showers, shared advice, and brought supplies. The teenagers helped too, painting the nursery, building furniture, and joking about baby names. I vote for Bruce, Lennox said. That's a terrible baby name, Beth said.
What if it's a girl?
Piper asked. Then Bruce is really terrible, Ren laughed. Everyone giggled together. Watching the teenagers joke and care for each other, Kaylin felt very thankful. They had made something real and important, a place where second chances became new beginnings. And the best part? They were just getting started. Spring came again, 1 year since Elara first arrived at the ranch. Snow melted, the grass turned green, and flowers bloomed. Ilara was 8 months pregnant now. She moved slower, but she still wanted to help with everything. The Sterling program at the ranch was doing well. All 5 teenagers were doing great. Lennox had been accepted to Montana State University to study veterinary work. Beth got a full scholarship for accounting at community college. Wren was thinking about job offers at local ranches. Mateo and Piper still had time before leaving the program, but they were growing and learning a lot. Then, one Tuesday in early May, Rhiannon Shaw arrived without telling anyone. She had a teenage girl with her. Kaylin and Ilara had never seen this girl before. "Sorry for coming without warning," Rhiannon said.
This is Jade Sterling.
She's 16 and will age out of Sterling care next year. She's been in 23 different Sterling homes since she was born. Jade stood with her arms crossed. She wore black clothes and looked like she didn't feel anything. Her eyes were flat. She expected nothing and hoped for even less. 23 homes, Ilara repeated softly. She had been in 12 homes, and even that felt like a lot. "No one could handle her," Rhiannon said. Jade just stared at the floor. "She's been called difficult, defiant, troubled. But I think she has just given up. When I heard about your program, I thought maybe one last chance could help her." "We're full," Kaylin said.
Ilara stepped forward.
"We'll make room," she said strongly. She saw herself in all the teenagers at the ranch. She especially saw herself in Jade, who looked so defeated.
"Jade, welcome to Thorn Ranch."
"Let me show you around," Ilara said. Jade didn't answer but followed Ilara. Kaylin and Rhiannon exchanged a look. "You sure about this?"
Rhiannon whispered.
"She has been in legal trouble, ran away many times, and has anger problems." "You're about to have a baby," Kaylin said, "and that's exactly why we can help. We know what it's like to need someone who doesn't give up." Rhiannon left, hoping this would work. Inside the barn apartment, Ilara introduced Jade to the other teenagers. Wren welcomed her. Beth looked nervous. Lennox was suspicious. Mateo and Piper waited to see what would happen. "You'll share a room with Piper," Ilara said. "The rules are simple. Go to work assignments. Attend school or GED classes. No drugs or alcohol. Be respectful.
Follow these, and you have a place here."
"For how long?" Jade asked for the first time. Her voice was flat. "As long as you need," Ilara said. "The minimum is until you age out. But even after that, we stay connected. We are a permanent support if you want it to be."
"Nobody want me permanent," Jade said.
"I did 12 Sterling homes," Ilara said softly. "I thought nobody wanted me either. But I found the right place eventually. Maybe you will too."
Meb d'ici. Jade esta farmor craqued a little.
"You really were in Sterling care?" "Yes," Ilara said. "Ask Wren. She'll tell you I'm not lying. I know what it's like to protect yourself by pushing people away. It's safer than hoping and getting disappointed." "Then why risk it?" Jade asked. "Because the alternative is giving up," Ilara said simply. "And I don't do that. I bet you don't either, or you wouldn't still be here." The first week with Jade was hard. She tested every rule, got into fights with Lennox and Mateo, and skipped work. But Kaylin and Ilara stayed firm and kind. When Jade stole food and hid it, Ilara didn't punish her. She gently explained there was always food, and she didn't need to hide it. When Jade almost got into a fight with Lennox, Kaylin stepped in. He showed Jade safe ways to handle anger. When Jade skipped work assignments, Harlan had her shadow him so she couldn't hide. Slowly, Jade began to open up. She helped Beth with math. She complimented Wren's cooking. She spent a day brushing horses without being asked. 2 weeks after arriving, Jade saw Ilara folding baby clothes. "Can I help?" Jade asked Thornley. "Sure," Ilara said. "I appreciate it." They folded clothes in silence for a while. Then Jade spoke quietly. "My mom was pregnant when she gave me up at birth. I've always wondered if she had other kids, if they got to stay. I don't know. I don't know her situation, Ilara said gently. But giving up a child is often the hardest choice someone can make. Sometimes it's because life made it impossible, not because of lack of love. Maybe I was defective from the start, Jade said bitterly. You're not defective, Ilara said. You survived 23 sterling homes.
You resty standing. You resty here.
That's not defective. That's incredibly strong. Jade's eyes filled with tears. It was the first real emotion she showed. I don't feel strong, she said. Strong people rarely do, Ilara said. They just keep going anyway. A week later, Ilara went into labor at 3 in the morning. Kaylin rushed around, calling the midwife and getting supplies.
The commotion woke everyone in the barn.
All 6 teenagers came to help. Harlan gave everyone tasks. Ren made coffee. Lennox and Mateo helped prepare the birthing room. Beth gathered supplies. Piper and Jade held Ilara's hands. The labor lasted 8 hours. The teenagers took turns supporting Ilara and Kaylin. Finally, a healthy baby girl was born, crying loudly. Everyone crowded to see her. What's her name? Ren asked. Ilara and Kaylin had chosen a meaningful name.
Hope, Ilara said, holding the baby close. Hope Elizabeth Thorne. Hope, Jade whispered. That is perfect.
Over the next weeks, the teenagers became Hope's family. They helped feed, change, and play with her. Lennox was gentle with her, learning from feeding calves. Beth made a schedule to help everyone. Ren could soothe Hope when she cried. But Jade formed the strongest bond. She watched Hope for hours, amazed at how much someone so small could be loved and wanted.
What is it like?
Jade asked one day.
Having someone who is your.
It's scary and wonderful, Ilara said. You love them so much it hurts. You do anything to protect them and give them a good life. I wish my mom felt that way, Jade said quietly. Maybe she did, Ilara suggested. Maybe that's why she gave you a chance at a better life, even if it broke her heart. Jade was quiet for a long time.
Can he tell you something?
Anything, Ilara said. I've been thinking about finding my birth mom, Jade said. Rhiannon said I can when I turn 18. I'm scared. What if she doesn't want to see me? You'll survive, Ilara said. Just like you survived everything else. But what if she does want to see me? What if she's hoping for this day? You won't know unless you try, Ilara said. We'll help when the time comes. That summer, the ranch was full of life and purpose. Kaylin and Ilara watched their growing family with joy. They had made something extraordinary. Not perfect, but real. A place where broken kids could heal, and lost teens could find direction. One evening, with Hope asleep in her bassinet, the 6 teenagers gathered in the main house for movie night. Kaylin pulled Ilara aside. Look at this, he said. Lennox and Jade argued about the movie. Ren made popcorn. Beth helped. Mateo and Piper set up the room. This is family. This is everything, Ilara said. They've come so far, Kaylin said. From that first Auckthorn meeting at the airfield to this.
A ranch full of second chance, a house full of love, a future full of hope.
And we're just getting started. 2 years later, the Sterling program grew. 2 houses now held 12 teens. They hired a counselor and more instructors. Social services sent their toughest cases. Hope grew into a curious toddler. She learned to walk, talk, and even feed chickens with help from the teens. Lennox graduated from Montana State University and stayed at the ranch as the animal care director. Beth earned her accounting degree and managed the ranch's money. Ren married a neighbor and started her own small ranch, visiting often. Mateo became a builder, helping to make new homes for the ranch. Piper studied to become a teacher and helped the teens with school. Jade, who arrived broken, became the program's strongest helper. She reconnected with her birth mom. Her mom had been 15 and homeless when she gave birth. It was hard, but healing. Jade chose to study social work to fix the Sterling system. She stayed at the ranch to help new kids. One Saturday in June, the ranch had a big summer party. It was special. 5 years since Alara arrived and 3 years since the program started. Over 200 people came. Kids ran, laughed, and played. Food and music filled the air. Kaylin and Alara watched, holding Hope. "Daddy hungry," Hope said. "Food," Kaylin said, lifting her.
Rhiannon chocam, smiling. Thank you for everything you've done. You've changed 30 kids' lives.
The program is amazing. Elias Finch and Marisol Vega stepped for Thorne with a surprise. Harlan held a framed plaque. "We are officially naming this Hope Ranch," Harlan said, in honor of Kaylin and Alara Thorne's work giving kids hope and second chances. Alara cried. "You didn't have to do this." "We wanted to," Marisol said.
What you built matters.
It should be remembered. Former teens gave speeches. Lennox said the ranch taught him to use grief for good. Beth said Alara helped her believe in herself. Ren said ranch work gave her courage. Jade said, 5 years ago, I had given up. Then I met Alara and Kaylin. They never gave up on me. This ranch gave me a family. I will always come back." Alara and Kaylin stayed outside, Hope asleep on Kaylin's shoulder. "We did it," Alara said. "Yes," Kaylin said.
We built something real. A ranch full of second chance, a house full of love, a family we chose.
And it all started with a simple arrangement. You ordered a mail-order bride expecting convenience. "Instead, I got you," Kaylin said.
Beautiful, smart, strong me.
Alara teased.
You changed everything. The ranch, the program, my life.
You made it possible. We made it possible, Alara said. That's the point, Kaylin said. Choosing each other, building something that matters. They stood under the Montana stars. Hope slept between them. Their family surrounded them. Their future was full of possibilities. Kaylin had thought he wanted someone easy and practical. Instead, he got Alara, who refused to be overlooked. She turned his empty ranch into a home.
She made his lonely life full of love.
The best mistake he almost made. Alara had survived 12 sterling homes. She had learned resilience, hope, and the power of family. She brought all of that to the ranch, to Kaylin, and to their hearts. I love you, Kaylin said quietly. More than I knew was possible, Alara said. I love you too, Kaylin said. Thank you for choosing me, for staying, for building this life with me, Alara said. They stood together under the stars, Montana quiet around them. Inside, lights glowed warmly. Their family continued celebrating.
A life built on kindness, hope, and love.
A life where second chances became new beginnings. Where a simple arrangement became the truest love story of all. The bride who wouldn't break became the foundation of everything. The lonely billionaire became a man who couldn't imagine life without her. Sometimes the best things in life aren't what you order. They are what you choose, build, and create every day. They had ordered convenience and received everything that truly mattered.